Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to this reading for the new moon in Capricorn that we're having on the 18th of January, at around 2:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, as always, take that into consideration when you're trying to figure out what time of day this new moon is happening in your area. Now, also, as always, look at where this new moon is transiting your birth chart, right? Where is it happening? Around your natal chart. It's at 26 degrees of Capricorn. So where do you have 26 degrees of Capricorn? But also, I would say, where do you have 26 degrees of Cancer? Where do you have 26 degrees of any of the cardinal signs? Because this is very important, right? If it's happening, let's say, if it's affecting your Mercury in Cancer, that's at 23 degrees of Cancer, then this new moon is going to be in opposition to your natal Mercury. Does that make sense? This new moon, first of all, we're going to talk about the chart, the astrology, and then we're going to jump into the cards. I'm not going to hang around the chart too long, and I don't want to hang around the cards too long because I know that we don't have all day to talk about this, but I could talk about this all day because let me tell you, this is why I pull up the grid so you guys can see with me. Look at all of the aspects that are going on right now because there's just so many conjunctions, right? There's a lot of stuff in Capricorn and Aquarius right now. So we are very Capricorn forward. Even Juno is in Capricorn. But let's not forget that Jupiter is in retrograde, right, in Cancer. And that's also going to take sort of a hold over us. That's going to affect us as a collective. But there's just too much going on right now for me to talk about it. This new moon is going to feel like that. It's going to feel like there's so much happening. The beautiful thing is that it is in Capricorn, okay? And what does Capricorn teach us? On the zodiacal archetype journey, it teaches us how to be resilient. It teaches us how to be strong. It teaches us how to push forward. It teaches us how to be smart, right? It teaches us how to be practical. It teaches us how to be also adaptable in a weird way. I know that usually we don't think of Capricorn as an adaptable sign, but it is an adaptable sign because it wants to win, right? It wants to succeed more than anything. Capricorn as an archetype, yes, it is strong-willed, but it also has this softer side, right? It has this soft, patient side that might come off a little, a little overly cautious in its own I don't want to say authoritarian way, but it is a little bit. But it is disciplined in that nature where it's one of the most patient energies. So while we might feel like that day, specifically that day, but there's definitely parts of it that continue to influence going forward. And also, as I'm recording this and going to release this on the 12th, it's going to feel like this, like I said, like everything's kind of happening at once. But it's about opportunities. These are all, most of the aspects involve conjunctions and sextiles. So this is a doorway of opportunity for this new moon. If you want to set intentions, and I know that some astrologers are advising against this because of what I've already talked about. It's in the major astrological events playlist, okay? If you want to check it out. But it's that Neptune and Aries, right? We're all ready for that Neptune and Aries, and then the conjunction between Saturn and Neptune and Aries. Like, that's going to be a big deal. But yeah, this new moon is definitely a good moon for intentions. It's such a good moon for long-term, long-haul, future-oriented, what's my 10-year plan kind of intentions. It works well if you're open to being more flexible. It works well if you're open to change. It works well, which is, I know those are not words that Capricorn is very comfortable with, but because so much is going on with this trine over to Uranus, with this new moon being conjunct Mercury, Venus, Mars, right? And Pluto, technically, okay? All of those are making that trine over to Uranus. So if you have to be willing to change. You have to be willing to look and say, how do I flip this on its side, like the planet, right? How do I look at it from a different angle, from a different point of view? Is it a little bit out there? Sure. Is it a little bit of a crazy thought? Maybe. Is it a crazy idea? I don't care. I'm ready to do this, whether everybody likes it or not. That's very Uranian, right? Sort of the complete opposite of Saturn that rules Capricorn. So that's the story, right? If you're not open to those doorways and those opportunities, it's fine. Like, that's basically what this new moon is saying. It's like, you want to do it now, whatever. If you don't, I'm gonna show up again when Neptune and Saturn come together, because I'm telling you right now, it's going to happen again. Saturn rules Capricorn, right? So we're gonna look at this new moon in Capricorn, the first new moon of the year, the first influential Capricornian moon of the year. So if we don't, here's what I want to say: if we don't take the opportunities and the doorways that open up with this new moon, and it's starting to show right now as I'm doing this reading on the 12th. That's why I'm trying to release this early, because you're going to start to see all of the doorways right now. And it will continue on throughout the rest of the month. Again, because of other aspects. And I'm not trying to sit here for 45 minutes to explain it. Just trust me on this, okay? Then it's okay. Because again, it's going to come back up for the rest of the year. Throughout the year, you're going to have signs and opportunities pop back up. Specifically, right here on the 20th, I wanted to bring this up. Oop, don't look at that. The 20th of February. Okay, look at that. That's that exact first conjunction that we're going to see between Neptune and Aries. Neptune and Saturn in Aries. Also, you have to keep into account, because Neptune has gone direct for a while now. Okay. This is on the 27th is when Neptune enters Aries, okay, officially. So keep those 2 days in mind: the 27th of January and the 20th of February. I can speak. Those 2 days are going to be a huge influence on this new moon, again, because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Every time you look at what's going on with the moon, you look at its ruler to get a bigger picture. Same thing if you're doing like a nodal return or a South Node reading, right? A past life karmic reading. You look at that node. What sign is it in? Now look at that ruler. Okay, I'm just giving you guys kind of lessons here. So, again, I know I keep repeating myself. There's just so much that I could say about this new moon. I don't even know where to begin. I literally sat down and I said, I would have to sit here and look at this chart and listen to the story for at least an hour, because if there's... And I briefly looked at the rest of the moons for the rest of the year, the new moons and full moons and the eclipses. If there's any moon, if there's any lunar cycle and it's beautiful because it's at the beginning of the year, that's going to be the most influential, I'm saying it right now, it's going to be this one. And I know, Gigi, you say it all the time, but this one really is that powerful. It is a powerful tool, and we would be stupid not to use it, okay? It is a tool for looking at how do we look at our own self-preservation? How do we look at our own conservation? And I know that that's a weird thought, right? Because that's almost a selfish thought. One could say it is on that road to self, right? And we don't want to be that, because it's very negative, very toxic, very pessimistic in its own way. And we want to be of service to others as best as we can. And we want to be empathetic towards others, and we want to be, compassionate towards others. And sometimes when we talk about self-preservation and conservation, it can come across as being a dick, right? Essentially. But we have to start looking at that authority that we have within ourselves. And this new moon is teaching us authority. All right? Authority that we might have with ourselves, authority that we might have with others, authority that we might have with authority. And I know that also sounds weird in itself, right? Like, do we have an issue with rules, regulations, restrictions, limitations? Do we have an issue with the opposite of that? Not just discipline and sticking to the plan and making sure that we're following all the rules and dotting our I's and crossing our T's, but do we also have an issue with maybe taking a different path? Right? Looking at something a different way, trying out a new thing, trying out a new place, going out and meeting new people, starting a new business, starting a new career path, starting a new schooling path, starting a new plan for the future. Okay? I started the reading saying that Capricorn is such a sign of resiliency. It is really a sign of not giving up. If there's any sign, any zodiac that will teach us, if you want to look at your life, right, and see what the natal story is saying about your life, look at where Capricorn is, and that part of your chart will tell you where you have a tendency to kind of be stubborn. And I know that we We look at Taurus or we look at our Aries when we think about that. But Capricorn is how do I say this? Capricorn is like, let me think. Achilles. For some reason, I couldn't remember his name. Achilles, right? Will not give up. Will be sort of the humanitarian success story until you hit that weak spot. So Capricorn does show us where we're stubborn, where we're resilient, where we don't give up, but it also shows us a weak spot. So does Chiron, right? That's why it's the key. You look at Chiron, you'll see where you feel you take things the personally the most. Okay. So anyway, so much about our thoughts, so much about our relationships, so much about our power, our authority in those. What thoughts do we give too much power or not enough power to, right? What relationships do we give too much power or not enough power to? I'm saying power because this new moon is conjunct Pluto. This new moon is also conjunct Mars. It's sextiling Saturn, which rules this new moon. So realistic paths, you might hear my dogs upstairs. They got the zoomies. Realistic paths that allow for realistic doorways to open up for realistic lessons. It's reality checks, okay? But in a positive way. I'm not saying this is a negative moon. It's really not. A lot. Yeah, it's going to be a lot. But it's positive. So let's also, and I want to say, I know I said to relationships. It doesn't have to be a relationship to a person. This could be what power and authority are you giving or not giving to a thing, right? Chocolate or alcohol or working out too much, because I know that's a thing too, right? What power or authority you're not giving or giving too much of with your relationship at work, with the relationship with your job, with the establishment itself, right? With your relationship with your boss, relationship with money, right? What's your relationship with money? Because this is conjunct Venus. What is your relationship with your idea of beauty? What is your relationship with your outlook on how you think or don't think that life is beautiful or not beautiful? I know personally right now, I'm like, oh my God, America's going crazy. This is for the first time in a long time. I'm like, and I was talking to my boyfriend about it. He's probably watching this video right now. Yeah. So what is your relationship with your country? What is your relationship with society? What is your relationship with government in general? Because that's also very Saturnian, right? Very, very Capricornian. What is your relationship with justice system? Yeah, we're going to be, it's a lot. I'm bringing all this stuff up because that's what this new moon is. It brings up a lot of stuff. So what do we need? Here we go. Oh my God, I wasn't even looking at the card. I pulled it out. Look at what it says. Drawing down the moon. Feminine, source, channel, stillness, and then solitude. Again, stillness, higher self. Because we've got all this Capricornian, rough, masculine, very masculine, dominating energy Capricorn is, right? That's why it's beautiful that it's conjunct Venus. Because then you got Mercury, fucking Hermes, running 1,000,000 miles an hour around the sun. And then you've got Mars, who just wants to punch things and run through walls, right? So beautiful Venus, our lovely Venus, because we've got nothing going on with Jupiter. Jupiter's not helping at all. Jupiter's in retrograde. Jupiter's like, oh, I feel down on myself in Cancer, which rules the moon, right? So we have beautiful Venus in Aquarius. She's like, okay, that's enough. Yes, you're unique. Yes, you're special. Let's start to honor that. Let's go softer. Let's go softer. Which again, Capricorn does weirdly have a side of it that is patient and kind and slow. It can. It just, unfortunately chooses not to a lot of the time. But with Venus's help, right? With the help of the god Aphrodite, we can touch on our own divine feminine side. We can connect to source. We can channel that stillness. We can channel that solitude. So this new moon is going to feel... Do you know what's funny is like for the last couple days, I've been feeling, I'm like, oh my God, it's almost like fucking, we've got a square between Mercury and Neptune or something. And we don't. I'm like, what's going on? It feels like Mercury retrograde right now. And then I was like, oh, duh. We're coming up on that conjunction with Neptune and Saturn. We're coming up on it. We're coming to the end degrees of it. Everybody is direct in that sense with those two anyway, right? Obviously, again, I know that Jupiter's still retrograde, Uranus is still retrograde, but yeah, so it feels like confusion. It feels like mismatched energy. Am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right path? Is this relationship right for me? What am I? It's almost like we might be asking ourselves with this new moon, am I missing something out of life? Am I letting life pass me by? Am I letting it just go? Do I even have a plan? Do I even have an idea of what I want to do with my life? What I want to be when I grow up? That's very Capricornian, right? Looking in the mirror and saying, oh my God, look at all those crow's feet. I'm coming up on my 40th, 50th, 60th birthday and I've done nothing. It's kind of like that, right? Like it's this. And then this crazy idea comes in and Venus is like, is it beautiful? Is it everything you've ever wanted to be? Is it going to give you beautiful abundance and love and success and happiness and joy? Because it's Venus. She just wants to have a good time and party. Okay. She wants to live it up. But then you got to be careful not to go too crazy, not to give too much power to that, right? Conjunct Pluto. You've got that sextile over to Neptune. Is it real enough? Is it just a fantasy also, right? Is it fake or is it real? Are you spiritually aligned? Because that's also that sextile in Neptune. And then we got the higher self coming out. When's the last time you talked to whoever you talk to, right? When's the last time you connected with source, God, consciousness, the universe, whatever, okay? Whoever you believe in, whatever you believe in, even if you believe in yourself, right? Even if you are here and you don't believe in anything, but you believe in something. Okay, so when's the last time you talked with yourself? When's the last time you had a long, deep conversation with yourself? Because at the end of the day, we are only with one person 100% of the time, and that's that man in the mirror, right? So when's the last time you looked in the mirror and said, wow, I really got to take stock. I really got to take stock. I got to start sticking to things. I got to start really changing what I need to change and aligning what I need to align with and then keeping what I need to keep too, because that can sometimes be a problem, right? Wanting to keep something in our life, but then feeling like at every turn that we go down, it's almost like the universe is like, you can't have that. But it's not that the universe is saying that. The universe is saying, are you grateful for that? Are you treating that thing, that person, that place with respect? Do you feel like you deserve it? Because you need to feel like you deserve it, because you do deserve it. Because one of the biggest signs with issues with self-doubt and fear is Capricorn. So this new moon is also teaching us not to live in fear, to free ourselves from self-doubt. Freedom, right? That's that Pluto and Venus together in Aquarius. Freedom, liberation, free from those restrictions that Capricornian, Saturnian energy might want to show us. Okay. So how do we find stillness, right? Okay, I said I wasn't going to make this. Every moon reading, I'm always like, I'm not going to make these so long. And then I always make them so long. Okay, let's go. There it is. The miser archetype. This is literally Saturn in Capricorn, by the way. That's the Four of Pentacles. Not that Saturn is in Capricorn. Saturn is in Pisces, but it's that energy, okay? Yeah, this makes sense. What did I say? Crazy. Tower card, crazy shit. High Priestess, that's what we need. We as a collective, right? You, me, and everybody watching right now. We need to take off the High Priestess in one of our decks. That's the card that we're working with for this new moon. And you wouldn't think so, right? You wouldn't think so, because High Priestess is very Cancerian, Neptunian, sort of out there. But this new moon in Capricorn teaches us stillness. Bottom of the deck, Queen of Cups. There's that Cancerian energy. So we have the Queen of Cups, the King of Pentacles, the Knight of Swords. We have one of each. Knight, Queen, and King. I mean, I just realized that came out wrong. I don't mean that we have one of each element. We do, obviously, but that's not what I meant. We have the perfect trifecta here. You want to know why? King of Pentacles. Slow and steady wins the race with him. Hard work pays off, okay? Actions speak louder than words for the King of Pentacles. Knight of Swords, very fast. Fastest knight in the deck, right? He's kind of like a think first, do later, though. He does think things through. So not only are we working where we need to working on what we need to work on, right? Putting in the effort where we need to put in the effort, but we're also thinking about it. We're thinking things through, and then we're feeling things through because we've got the Queen of Cups, the only queen that knows what to do with her feelings. While we're sitting in stillness, learning to let go, but also learning to hold on to, because I feel like this Four of Pentacles with the Tower and the Ten of Wands, this is where we learn how to hang on to what we need to hang on to and drop what we need to drop, because 10 is too much. That's burden. But here's the thing. There's a reason why it came out in this deck, right? That doesn't look very burdened to me. That looks like he's carrying that just fine, all the way up to that castle in the sky, his dream. So it's about long journeys. Like I said, it's about the long haul. That's what this new moon is trying to teach us. So what are we learning to hang on to, right? That's that Four of Pentacles. What are we supposed to be hanging on to? Temperance, patience. One of the first words I said to describe Capricorn is patience. That's not what I want to say. What is the word I'm thinking of? I was going to say mediation. Maybe, right? That could be it. But I was trying to, moderation. That's the word I was thinking of. Moderation and mediation, apparently, because I'm going to take that word because that was coming up. Moderation also, because Capricorn and Aquarius together, those are two extremes. Those can be two totally different, and they literally are two totally different ends of the spectrum. High Priestess, what is this about? There it is, self-doubt and fear, right? Insecurities. When we're feeling insecure, look to the self. Go into meditation. And meditation comes in many forms, okay? Meditation is not sitting in a lotus flower quietly for 30 minutes in the woods. It doesn't have to be that. You can meditate while you're in the shower. Sometimes we have the best thoughts when we're in the shower or we're driving, although that could be dangerous because you're zoning out, and then 5 minutes later, you're like, how the fuck did I get to Moe's? But you get what I mean, okay? I don't know why I thought of Moe's. Maybe I want to be in burrito. King of Pentacles. There it is. Where do we need to put in the effort? 8 of Cups. Learning how to say, that's a whole lot of empty cups that are giving me nothing. I need to walk. I need to go. And again, this doesn't have to be, leaving a person behind in a romantic relationship, because I know everybody likes to jump to that in the tarot community on the YouTube channel. I'm not saying break up with your partner. I am saying, though, if something is unfulfilling, this can be something as simple like you always have one thing that you do in your routine every single day, and you're starting to get bored with it, right? You're starting to think, why am I still doing this? It doesn't even do anything for me. Take that out then. Why is it still in your routine, right? Why are you wasting your time? Why are you spending time? The sign. Let me say it this way. The planet of lessons to time is Saturn. We're going to have two gods, okay? Poseidon and Zeus are going to come together in the most explosive sign of Aries. I know. Again, I did like a 50-minute video on that already. I will try to remember to link it to this video. If not, check out the playlist. Or if you've already watched it, refresh your memory. Unfortunately, I had other important things that I talked about before this channel and my old channel, but those videos are gone. Anyway, what is empty? Why are we still keeping it? It's like that pair of pants that you bought 12 years ago. Why is it still in the closet? Do you get what I'm saying? That's that 8 of Cups. That's where we're being asked to put effort. Now, what can be crazy? Oh, all right. Well, we got 3 cards. 2 princesses, Pentacles and Swords, and 6 of Cups. Oh, that's interesting. What can feel crazy specifically with this new moon is lessons of the past, okay? Clearing the air, saying what needs to be said, thinking what needs to be thought, having the conversations that we need to have, expecting positive change, because there is positive change that comes with this, and learning our damn lessons, okay? That's the most important thing that comes up with those 3 cards together. Where might we be thinking things through? Knight of Swords. Where might we be thinking things through? I don't know why I can't say that. Kind of crazy right now. 4 of Wands. But also, these 3 came out kind of sort of with it. I won't take them. 2 of Pentacles, 3 of Pentacles, and the 5 of Swords. Oof. That's a rough relationship. But that is it right there. These are long-term commitments. Now we are talking about people. These are the people you live with, the people that you love, the people that you have so much, that you give so much of yourself to. These are our loyalties, right? The people that we are 100% loyal to. That's what we're thinking things through about with this new moon. Do we want to take it to the next step? Do we want to level up with this person? Because again, we've got positive changes, right? Do we want to help them out in some way? Do we want to create a much more safe, comforting, and stable home environment? Home. Who is your home? Where is your home? And is it the right foundation that you want it to be? That's what we're thinking things through about. 10 of Wands. Where do we need to drop big burdens? Or how do we need to drop big burdens? Let's say that. We have 6 of Pentacles. Wow. Talking about giving. Also receiving. So balancing out giving and receiving. Is there somewhere in your life, person, place, or thing? Look at the lovers on the bottom. Is there somewhere in your life, person, place, or thing, where you are giving too much or not giving enough, or receiving too much or not receiving enough? Reciprocity. Going back to that moderation and balance, right? Is it balanced? That's where we need to drop the wands. That's where we need to stop feeling overburdened. If you can give, give. If you can help, help. Great. But also remember to receive that help so that you're not, weighing yourself down too much. Last thing I'll talk about is this Queen of Cups with this Lovers. Love is the answer, right? Like, that's basically what that's saying. To do things properly, we need to come from the heart space. We need to do everything with love. And I know that sounds so cliche and foo-foo and stupid, but it's not stupid, right? If you have love in your heart, you literally, you can't lose. Because with love in our hearts, we can maintain positivity. We can maintain an open mind. We can maintain compassion and kindness. That crystalline version of ourselves, right? Decisions come from the heart. That's what these two cards are saying. If we're going to make decisions with this new moon is going to teach us to get to the heart of the matter and to lead with our hearts. I hope this helped. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.